centered around a video or influenced from a video between the gospel singer Erica Campbell. She's half of the duo Mary Mary. And she had an interesting conversation with her daughter. And I want you guys to watch it. And then we're going to talk about colorism 2.0. What does it look like in 2024? We know what colorism and racism looked like decades ago, but what does it look like in 2024 and how can we address it? All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to play the video.
Bothering Krista about school more than she was letting on. I don't want to put her on the spot with the whole family. That probably would make her uncomfortable, and I don't want that. Is there an issue?
Not an issue. It's more like just something that I kind of noticed. If you look at all my friends, church and school, I'm a chubby friend. And it's not like, oh God, I just have accepted it, you know.
You're not the fat friend, Chris.
I noticed that I'm left out. You know, other guys and talk to them, I'm left out. I'm left to the side. And I think that's why.
Guys talk to you.
It's different. It is.
And do you think it has something to do with your size?
Absolutely. I know it is. I'm not saying that no guys want chubby girls. I'm just saying that that's personally me.
But I don't think that's the case. I think that's the way you're saying it.
Because it's not that I'm ugly or I don't do my ugly.
No. Why would she ask me that? Why would she ask me, am I ugly? I'm your mama. I only see beauty in your eyes.
My size of
no, baby. Really... You're gorgeous. And you know, look at this face. This is my face. It's brown. It's a combination.
That's something too. A lot of the guys like light skin girls.
Like what?
A lot of the guys like light skin girls. Look at our family. Look at our family. You and Dad, light skin, dark skin. Auntie and Uncle Ted, light skin, dark skin. Auntie and Uncle Des, light skin, dark skin. The only two dark skin families is Auntie Lisa, Uncle Errol, and Nana and Grandpa.
That's still two. It's not. Look at all these beautiful brown women in the world. Look at Gabrielle Union. She's brown, wait, gorgeous, amazing husband. Look at Kelly Rowland, beautiful. Like, these are beautiful brown women everywhere.
Mom, think
all around you.
You're light skin, so you don't really know exactly how it feels, you know?
All these things that you want to have answers to, sometimes I don't. And right now I don't. What to do, what to tell her, how to lift her, how to make her smile, how to tell her not to worry. I got to figure it out.
All right. When I saw that, my heart went out to the little girl. One of the things that I first thought about was how Erica Campbell as a mom handled the situation. Now, I don't want to criticize her because she's just a mom, like she said, who's trying to figure it out, right? She doesn't have all the options or all the answers. And I think that she probably had her own emotional response when she heard her daughter saying those things. So her reaction was to tell her, no, that's not true. That's not true, right? So I don't criticize Erica Campbell for her response, but I did think that it's like a teachable moment. I'm sorry, I didn't realize my camera wasn't on.
I was like, she had.
I do think it was like a teachable moment for just parents. Like when your kids come to you, it's important not to gaslight them. You know, it's natural, I think, sometimes for people to be like, no, it's not true. You know, that's not what's happening. But when you deny what somebody's experiencing, you know, you're not helping them, right? You might frustrate them. You might make them internalize that and think something's wrong with them, you know, even more so than what they're already thinking. So, and it doesn't address the issue, you know? So I think that was one of the things that stuck out to me. But then Cannon, after talking to Cannon, I was like, you know what? This is a good, you know, reference for a discussion around colorism today, Colorism 2.0. So what do you all think? The question is, Colorism 2.0, what does it look like in 2024? Who wants to go first?
I'll start.
I'll go first. Okay, just kidding.
No, I just wanted to throw in there that I don't think that we don't want to judge her because like every parent drops the ball somewhere, whatever. But I think it's important to point out that there are some fundamentals that as Black people, we should be talking about these things with our kids from a very early age. It shouldn't take for her to get to be however old she was for this to be the first time this is coming up. Because we already should be aware of how innocuous those things show up now. Like it's still here. Like we can't just ignore it away. Like we can't be acting all like this colorblind that we want to have so bad, right? So it's like now we have to keep our pulse on the way people are having conversations, the way people talk about dark skin versus light skin. How I think Ms. Jovo mentioned it the other day, where like, oh, you pretty for a dark skinned girl, like stuff that sounds innocuous, but it's actually quite harmful. It's like we have to be aware of those things, and we have to be talking to our, like, you know, your kid is dark skinned. You know that they dark skinned. Like I have 2 dark skinned daughters. I'm constantly talking to them about that type of stuff all the time because other people gonna be saying stuff to them. Like I already know, you know, like the experience that they gonna have. So I'm getting ahead of it, right? I'm jumping ahead of the game because I already know what's coming down the line. So I want them to already be prepared and not to be blindsided or confused about it. So I think that it's super important that we just have those standard conversations, just like we say, you know, as Black people, we have conversations with our kids about how to interact with the police and all the other stuff. We need to be having conversations with them about colorism and things like that as well, because it's stuff that's happening that they're going to experience. So we have to prepare them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Ava says she should have just given her daughter a hug and thought about it because she would, I think she's saying because she would be, she was invalidating her personal experiences. I agree. I think the name is Taishikia. Sorry if I said it wrong. She says, she says, we as parents feel helpless and immediately try to save the kids. And then there's Nick Sells. We got a lot of great comments tonight. Parenting does not have a manual. Sometimes you're caught off guard and you just respond with love. Yes. Clayton Stanley says, agreed. There is no manual to parenting because every situation is different with different ways to approach. That is so true. All right. So what do you all think? Cannon, you shared the coldest. What do you think?
I think, like they said, or like Ava said in the comments, she invalidated her experience. It could have been a real teaching moment. They could have expounded past relationships to jobs to your likelihood of being incarcerated, all these things that are affected by your skin color. But instead, it was just shut down. And girl, don't think about it like that. That's the reality of the world you live in. You might get followed around in the store just because you dark skinned. Just that simple. You came in too dark. Now we're going to follow you around the store. It's just, it may not even be about relationships. But when you close that off, you close off the conversation for all of that.
Yeah.
So I do think, I understand her wanting to respond in love, but preparation is also love. If you keep sheltering her and, making her think that the world is filled with roses, then when she finds out it's not, she's not going to look at what you did as love. She's probably going to be resentful.
And she's still going to have the same problems. So you're not really helping her. I think colorism is hard to prove. Like I hear so many different people deny that it exists, right? Like some very famous podcasters in our community, Black people, say colorism is not real, but it's very much real. The problem is that it's so hard to prove. You can't prove how people think, right? Or I don't know what. Yeah, exactly. We see it.
And it's a worldwide phenomenon. People literally sell skin lightening creams.
It's easy to prove. People just ignore it. But people will literally be like, oh, you know how light-skinned people act, or you know how people will say
can't quantify. We have all these anecdotal experiences. I have a ton. Okay. Working in Chicago public schools, you see it so much. I remember more recently, and actually I'm not in Chicago public schools anymore, but I see it a lot. I saw it today, with a community that is predominantly white, you know, and you know, we have a lot of different nationalities, and there is just so much colorism, so much, oh, you're too dark, and people, the kids calling each other darky and blacky, and black as an insult. Like I remember, you know, so many situations. Like when I was teaching 6th grade, this one little boy told a little girl who's very dark skinned, she's too burnt to have a man. That's what he said, you know. So kids are picking these things up, and they're going to become adults who have these types of thinking. But unfortunately, there are people who still try to deny it. Okay.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
We gotta be realistic with our kids about what's coming. You know, I'm at the cusp at the beginning of middle school, and now it's what my hair looks like, and you know, what I look like every day when I go to school and things like that. The reality of it is that these things are reality, and I think in that moment, her daughter was sharing with her the reality. Her daughter was sharing with her the reality. Okay, that this, you know, that mom, I literally see this when I go to school. I literally feel left out. This is what's happening to me. And I think to piggyback on what Ty said, instead of trying to like just, you know, like try to save and protect, because we do that as parents. We don't want them to experience none of the negative stuff that's out there in the world. Instead of us always trying to like put a band-aid on it, we need to be having these conversations that, yeah, there are some people who are going to tease you because your skin is darker, or there are going to be some people that tease you because your nose is a little bit wider, or that, like with me, big nose, skinny eyes, I went through that, or you're dark, or right down to even with the hair, texture of hair, how, you know, in our community, we have like this obsession, especially in the South, about, oh, she got long hair down her back and she this skin color, versus being, you know, dark with the afro, you know, or whatever. Just looking at the two differences or whatever. Like I grew up seeing that even in my family, and it just carries in generations. That's what it does. It just carries. It just carries from one generation to the next. So I think in that moment when your child is coming to you and they're saying that this is what it's like at school, these are who the boys are gravitating to. These are who the girls want to invite to the party and not me. Like, listen and be realistic with them. And let them know that there are going to literally be people out there that you're not going to be their preference. They're not going to pick you. They're going to judge it off of so many different things. Some of them are going to judge it off of how you look. And instead of just trying to, like I said, put a Band-Aid on it and say, oh, it's not that bad. Let's have these realistic conversations. Like, let's let them know that those people exist, but you're enough. You're beautiful. You know, what can we do to increase your self-love, your self-esteem, so you'll like what you see when you're in the mirror? Because you can have 25,000 aunts and uncles and cousins and whomever in your life to tell you that you're beautiful. Until you see it, this will be a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta get real. We gotta have the real.
Do you think if they had the real conversation, they would have to address all the examples that the little girl used of her brothers and all these dark-skinned men that are going after the light-skinned woman? Like, do you think that's why she avoided the question? Because then we got to have the conversation about all these. Yeah.
With her, but
it made her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And sometimes as parents, when we get uncomfortable, we start deflecting. And when we really just need to be like, hey, you see it in the comments, just listen or say, you know what, I don't know. Or I don't know why that person would prefer that. Or yeah, some people do have this preference. Like, just don't make it seem like that they're creating a scenario in their head when this is a real issue.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And just prepare them. Like, okay, some people will like brown skin, some people like dark, some people will like light, and you have to love yourself regardless. So I like that.
Absolutely.
I was gonna ask, or I wanted to say something real